What's up, party people? This is going to be a video on Collect Insure. So I've been looking at insuring my comic books. This is Jude Mossberg from Facebook, Jude's Junk Facebook comic book shop and YouTube channel. And I've been a dealer for 5 years now, since 2021. But I've been collecting since 1980. And insurance always comes up. We're in a pretty safe place. I'm not worried about theft, not worried about fire, although maybe I should be as my collection grows and my client base grows and my sales get higher. But shipping has really become an issue, especially with international and tariffs and customs. If you're familiar with all that, insuring shipping becomes tricky. A lot of these auction houses, unless you want to pay the express overnight shipping, which is like $200, you have to waive your insurance, which is a little scary. They go ground, and then they say they're not going to get involved if insurance helps. So insuring these bigger books, UPS has a max at 5 unless you go, what's their process where they put it in a vault? They have where you sign a little piece of paper on it. Anyways, they have an option where you can get more insurance if you go this one option I just blanked out on UPS. And I think FedEx maxes out at 10, and I've had 3 books I've had to ship over 10,000 this year, and that becomes an issue. I go easy ship for overseas, and they don't allow me to add insurance on, so that's problematic. So I'm really in a point where I need to insure these books that are being shipped. $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 books. It's becoming an issue. So if you are doing smaller books under 5,000, you can get it insured through Easy Ship. The problem with Easy Ship is they do not insure to CGC. That is the problem, and I've risked every package I've sent there. They're not insured because they want a commercial invoice, and CGC is not buying them from you, so you can't get a commercial invoice. So Easy Ship says that's not covered. If you go straight to the post office and ship your books to CGC and get insurance, then that might cover it, but the people at the post office never give me a straight answer. They're like, we don't really know, I go, do I need an invoice, a commercial invoice? And they're like, I don't know. So shipping to CGC is scary and risky and tricky. I just sent 10,000 there, completely uninsured. So anyways, I'm looking at finally biting the bullet and getting insurance for my dealer business. It's different than a collector. Collectors don't buy and sell a lot. They just collect. I have to be a dealer because I buy and sell. So I wanted to share with you the details I just learned. I've been chatting with Collect Insure for a couple of years. It was about $2,300 a couple of years ago. It's still about $2,300 a year. And that just seemed too much for the volume I was buying and selling, and I was doing a lot of small books that I can just insure through Easy Ship, and pass that shipping cost off to the client. But they're different now, and in terms of what's covered in terms of shipping. So if you insure your books for $200,000, let's say you think all your books are worth $200,000. The shipping will be an option of 10% or 25% of that. So if you wanted to do 10% of that, that means up to $20,000 will be covered in shipping anywhere. Incoming books to you from an auction, from a seller, from shipping out internationally. What's good about shipping out internationally is with customs and tariffs and all these things, a lot of clients don't want you to put the full dollar amount on the customs packaging. That's how you insure through UPS or FedEx, is the dollar amount you put in the shipping label. And so you're kind of tied. If it's a $20,000 book, you're tied in paying customs on a $20,000 book, which is problematic. My client was like, yeah, but Heritage does that. They ship it to me and it's fully insured. And they write on the custom form, $1,000 instead of $20,000. And so I was like, okay, this has to be a third-party insurance, like Collect Insure, where you can insure that package overseas, $18,000, $20,000. And when you do the label, it's okay if you say it's a $1,000 book for customs, because insurance and customs, third-party insurance, I just verified they don't care about what's on the shipping label. So that's great. So this is going to solve a lot of my international shipping issues, bigger books, shipping to CGC that's not insured, shipping domestically if it's over 5,000, because that's what it maxes out with USPS. So you can do the 10% of your 200,000, or you can do 25% of the 200,000. I went with the 10%, and that means it's going to cover it up to $20,000. Now later, if I just want to change, I just call them up and say, hey, I want to switch to the 25% shipping rider, because the shipping is really a rider. Then it'll go up to 50,000 per shipment. But right now, I'm going to stick with the 20%. I have shipped one book for 25,000 and one that was 34,000, but the one that's 34,000, I kind of had it drop ship straight to the client, and it was insured through the seller, so that was a different deal. So anyways, I think the 10% is going to work for me. Now, mind you, if you insure for 200,000, but they find out it's really worth 400,000, then what they cover on shipping gets cut in half, because you're insuring half your collection. So what they cover is going to be half. So they wouldn't cover 20. They'd only cover 10,000 on shipping in that case. That doesn't sound right, the math, but that's what they warn me. They hey, if you got lost in a fire or something, you wouldn't have the whole thing covered if you're insured for 200,000. So I'm guessing, I'm using CLZ. The values in there, a lot of them I put in for sales, but a lot of the raws are leftover old values from the old CLZ platform that gave them very high values, or I put in numbers back when the market was going through the roof, and there's a lot of high values in there. So I just pulled up CLZ, looked at statistics, saw what the values were, and I kind of cut that in half about, because I think everything in CLZ, for the most part, is overinflated. So I didn't need travel. You can add that as a rider. I don't go to conventions or cons with all my books, and they go back and forth with me, so I didn't cover that. So it's a $500 deductible, which is great, just like a car, and that's pretty cheap. They didn't give me options like $1,000 deductible, a $2,000 deductible. They just said it was $5,000. So this, for me, he must have known my zip code, and so he gave me $2,294 a year. Now it's not monthly payments. You pay it quarterly, which is like $600 a quarter, and then you got to pay $5 for them to split it in 4 payments. So you're spending an extra $20 a year to pay quarterly. They also have a semi-annual one, but might as well just pay the whole thing at that point. So anyways, it's the end of August. In about 5 days, it'll be September 1st. I'm going to shoot for a September 1st start date on this policy, and then my books overseas will be insured, which is a big relief, because I have a client, I'm shipping a $18,000 book overseas. It's a partial payment, partial trade. So if I needed a commercial invoice, it wouldn't work, because it's a $12,000 cash, $6,000 book. So that gets kind of tricky when you're dealing with pirate ship and you need a commercial invoice. That's not going to work. So again, this will cover the book, the $18,000 book. Now I can put on the customs forms, hey, this is a $500 book, a $1,000 book, whatever, and it's still fully insured. I trust Collect Insure, because everybody in the industry says that they're just the go-to standard, and I believe people in the industry. I've heard who was it? Not Comic Tom, Swaggelhoss, I believe, talk about Collect Insure recently. I don't think I've heard Comic Tom talk about it. Anyways, I think I'm going to bite the bullet. I was looking at flying overseas to deliver this book, because it was not that much more than what I thought it would be to ship and insure. Now, just because you ship and insure something doesn't mean it's going to be covered if it really got lost. So a lot of these insurance things, you got to really look at the fine print and make sure it's not a waste. I've wasted a lot of money over the years shipping pirate ship to CGC, only to find out all that money was just wasted. They'll collect that money all day. They just won't pay out. So you need to know the fine print, and that is problematic. So I was looking at maybe flying over to Europe to deliver this book. I was looking at various options, and I was thinking about, just swinging it and taking the chance. But I think I'm at that place finally where this cost, obviously, is a tax deduction, so I can take off, $2,300 off of profit, so that won't be taxed. That's good, because as a business, you're getting taxed anywhere from 28 to 38%. And I have a whole video on YouTube on what the tax rates are, and it depends if it's short-term games, long-term games. They tax comic books, collectibles at a higher rate than other capital gains items. So I won't go into the details because there's a lot of moving parts, and it's good to really understand the taxes. So anyways, I'm going to go Collect Insure, and maybe I'll follow up with a video, and it sounded like it's going to be pretty straightforward. And then I can send a $20,000 book and feel good about it. Anyways, happy hunting, guys. I wish I could get a commission referring you to Collect Insure, but I can't. So just reach out. They you do a quote online, and then they call you the next day, and you get it set up. They email you a PDF. You fill out the PDF. You email it back to them. It's not an online app. And then they process it, and it gets started. Anyways, happy hunting, guys.